Hello, and welcome to Bite-Sized Greek Genealogy. I am Carol Kostakos Petranek of Spartan Roots.
Hi, and I'm Georgia Stryker Keilman from Hellenic Genealogy, Geek. We decided to create a series of short videos to address many of the questions that people come up with on Hellenic Genealogy Geek Facebook group. This first video is on tips about names and villages. These are the things we should keep in mind when doing your Greek genealogy research. So you must know the surname used in Greece and you must know the exact village. Everyone who's attempting to do family history research on their immigrant ancestors, no matter what country they are from, has to go through the same process.
And let's talk for a moment about common Greek naming traditions. The common Greek naming tradition is to name the first son after the paternal grandfather. In this example, the grandfather's named Panayotis, who has three sons, Ioannis, Dimitrios, and Stavros. Each one of them has a son, and he will name his first son Panayotis. Now you have multiple Panayotises in the same generation, probably residing in the same village. They're all first cousins, and all of them have the same last name. You need to pay special attention to this when you begin searching in records, because you want to be sure you are not researching the wrong family.
Okay, male middle names. Now, middle names are not used in Greece. So in Greece, males are referred to as by their first name, their surname, and then always son of whoever. So, for example, my grandfather is Sarantos Strategakos, son of Yorgos. Now, when he comes to the US, because they don't have middle names, he's using his father's name as the middle name, and that is very common. So his name is Sarantos Yorgos Strategakos. Now, this is not always, everything doesn't work exactly the same way, but most of the time, this is what you'll find on records. So pay special attention to that.
And for women, middle names also are not used in Greece. When a woman is not married, she is referred to as Georgia Babetsu, daughter of Demetrios. In the US, she is Georgia Demetrios Babetsu. Now, it changes when she gets married because she replaces her father's name with her husband's name. So in this case, she becomes Georgia Sarantos Strategakos, meaning Georgia, wife of Sarantos. Most Greek immigrant women in the late 19th and early 20th centuries did this. Even some first-generation women born in the US followed this, but it usually did not carry on to their daughters.
Okay, you're researching two children by the same name in the same family, but they were born on different dates. Is this an error? Well, probably not. 19th and 20th centuries were perilous times for children. Many died at a very young age. So when a child died, it was not uncommon for parents to vow that they would name a future child after the one that had passed away.
And when we talk about naming, let's talk about name accuracy. This is a big problem when you are trying to find your ancestor in records, because his name could be spelled in a variety of ways. So why is this? Well, some did not know how to spell their names, even in Greek. Many were illiterate and could barely read or write in Greek, much less English, and they didn't care if their names were misspelled. They only cared that they were able to answer questions to get the documentation they needed. Also, remember that clerks or officials wrote what they heard, meaning they wrote names phonetically, which led to incorrect and wildly various spellings. Now, this is a good time to point out a major Ellis Island misconception. Names were not changed at Ellis Island. I'm going to repeat that again. Names were not changed at Ellis Island. When the immigrant boarded the ship at the port of departure, he told the clerk his name. That's the name written on the manifest. Again, the names were written phonetically by these clerks, many of whom did not know the language that the immigrants spoke. That manifest was given to the captain of the ship, who carried it across the ocean and physically handed it to the officials at the incoming port. Therefore, the same name that the immigrant gave at the port of departure is the same name found on the manifest, and that is what you will find when you look for ship manifests online. Now, some of you are like me. Maybe you can't read or write Greek, or you can't read or write Greek very well. So this tip will help you tremendously. Clip or take a photo every time you find your ancestor's handwritten name. Now think about your own name as it's written in English. It looks different depending on who wrote it because everyone's handwriting is different. Well, it's the same in Greek. When you're learning to recognize your surnames in Greek, it's helpful to see how other people wrote that name. After a while, believe it or not, you will be able to start recognizing your surnames. And here's another tip. If you're browsing a list of handwritten names, look at the first letters versus trying to read all the names on the list. It's definitely easier to find all the S's, let's say, and then look for the last name Stryker than to try to read every name on that list.
Village name changes. Have you ever wondered why you can't find your ancestor's village on a Google map? This might be because of the variety of village and municipality name changes throughout the years. Okay, so this is the EETAA Greek government website. I love this. All right. Carol has done a great post that we will have a link to in the handout that's attached to this YouTube video. But for instance, this is my grandfather's village, Caparelli, Arcadia. It was started in 1835 when the municipality was part of the municipality of Manthreas. Then in 1841, it became part of the municipality of Tegia. Then in 1912, it became the community of Caparelli. And then the settlement was renamed Manthrea. Okay, now it's Manthrea. It's part of the municipality of Tegia. And then in 2010, it's part of the municipality of Tripoli. Now, why is this important? We'll use my grandfather and his brother as an example. They came over at two different times. And on documentation, one might write Caparelli, one might write Manthrea, one might write just the municipality on some records. And the municipality changed several times. So it's really important, I think, that you print this out for every village that you're researching so that you have a record when you have a record of when the name changes took place based on the year of the actual records. And again, Carol's blog post, which she did a great job on, is attached in the handouts.
Great. Okay, let's talk about another stumbling block, birth dates. This is one of my very favorites. Why do you find different birth dates for the same person? Well, there's a couple of reasons. Most people from Greece didn't know their exact date of birth. They celebrated saints' days or name days, not birthdays. And sometimes they just make up a date. And different records would have different dates if they didn't remember what date they used on the previous record. I have actually seen a 40-page file where every document was filled out by the immigrant, and as many as 6 different birth dates are scattered throughout those documents. Now, this is a huge, important thing for you to learn about. So we're going to dedicate a whole session in the future on this particular topic.
Marriages, beware. When you find a marriage for a male, don't assume his wife is your ancestor. Okay, many of our ancestors, men and women, were married multiple times. Many women died during childbirth. Often men remarried within a few months. Less common, the husbands died at a young age and the women remarried. So if you just jump to the conclusion, get all excited like I did when I was first researching, thinking that this was my grandmother. And by the way, my great grandfather married Georgia's twice, so you can't really go just by that. Um, you have to make sure you check the birth date of the person and the marriage date, because you might find that the birth date is before the marriage, and then you know that there was another marriage prior to that. So keep that in mind, and we will do a separate thing on marriages also.
Those are great points, Georgia. Well, everybody, thanks so much for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the future. Join us next time for another bite of Greek genealogy.
And if you like us, hit like. And don't forget to download the handout.
Absolutely. We'll have the handout in the notes under the YouTube description. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. See you next time.